What's up? What's up? What's up? I'm back with another installment of No Filter Tuesdays. Today, I want to talk to you all about therapy, aka counseling. I know that we are a lot more open to talking about mental health issues present day than we have been in the past, in our history. Those of you who are in the African American community, you know that talking about mental health and mental health problems has not always been encouraged. Seeing a therapist or a counselor has not always been encouraged. We used to call these particular individuals in these professions quack doctors and things of that nature. And I think that some of that rhetoric still stands today. And I want to encourage us all to look at mental health differently. At the end of the day, we all have experienced some level of trauma in our life if we've made it to adulthood. And honestly, even kids have experienced trauma that needs to be addressed. I think us belittling the need for help, mental help, does not benefit our community. It actually is very detrimental. So again, my whole goal here is to encourage people to look at the mental health industry differently, to look at therapy and counseling differently. We all truly need it. It is beneficial to be able to talk to a non-biased individual about what's going on in our head and what's going on with us so that we could get those things out. They say pressure busts pipes. So imagine your body having to hold in all of the stressors that you're going through and not being able to get those things out with a party that is unbiased. Mind you, I do think that it's beautiful to be able to vent to your friends and family, your spouse. That is a gift. However, those individuals are carrying some of their own loads, and those individuals are not necessarily equipped to help you deal with what you're going through, identify what the triggers are, and give you skills that help you navigate that in the future. Your friends, family, spouses really just provide an outlet for you to vent, but it stops there. So when you get to that same situation again, you have no tools in order to deal with it. And to constantly do the same thing over and over and over is by definition insanity. So I think that we need to do something different if what we've been doing has not been working. Is that fair to say, family? If it hasn't been working, it's probably time to try something different. I started law school in 2020. The pressures of adjusting to law school, as well as trying to continue being a friend, an aunt, a daughter, a sister, all of those things combined made me feel like I was failing. I caught myself displacing my stress and my emotion onto my nephew and my mom. And as I was making my way to the grocery store, I saw this meme or it was a tweet actually. It was a tweet that someone had posted, and they were talking about their therapy session. And essentially, what the tweet said was, Black women don't address the fact that they're dealing with anxiety and depression. Rather than labeling it as it is, they feel like they're failing. Mind you, I felt like I was failing. So I felt like that was my call to action to get me a therapist, because that tweet actually came from someone who was going to therapy and was just trying to get that person to see, like, hey, it is okay to call a thing what it is. You're dealing with depression, you're dealing with anxiety. We're human. We will deal with some of these things. And so that tweet actually prompted me to start therapy. And out of my therapy sessions, one of the most beautiful things ever happened. I was able to release some stuff that I'd been carrying for years to my mom and also to my brother. If it weren't for my therapist coaching me on how to go about doing that in a way that allowed my family members to respond in a way that would be beneficial rather than detrimental, then I don't think I would be walking in the freedom and liberty that I am now with my mom and with my brother. Like, it strengthened my relationship with my brother, I believe, and it gave my mom a new perspective on me and the things that I've carried and the help that I've needed over the years. Um, I can't say that that moment would have happened without me going to therapy. I can't say that I would have been able to articulate what needed to be said in the manner in which it needed to be said. My therapist encouraged me to write a letter rather than spilling this heavy information on a phone call. And the reason she told me to go about this in this particular manner is because a letter allowed my mom and my brother the time that they needed to process what was being said and to respond in a time that was beneficial to them, in a time that they were comfortable with responding after processing everything that they just read. If they felt like responding at all, had I done that over the phone, this awkward silence would have fell, could have fell. I won't say that it would have. It could have fell. It wouldn't have given them the time to process, because in that phone conversation, they would have felt like they had needed to immediately respond. And that wasn't the case. I wasn't looking for an immediate response. I was looking for a release in a healthy manner. And as I stated, my therapist helped me get that. And I truly can't thank her enough, because it freed me to do some other things in the future without catching my family off guard. So again, I can't speak highly enough about therapy and about the benefits that it has, because truth be told, like, outside of our own drama, sometimes there's generational things that are attached to us, and having someone who has been taught how to identify certain things and to challenge your thought process is a true gift. Those who work in the field of counseling and therapy are angels on earth, in my opinion, because working through our brokenness is the only way that we could show up as our best selves. And a lot of us refuse to address our brokenness. We choose to sweep it under the rug. We choose to ignore it altogether. There's lots of us who can't even sit with ourselves in silence, because that brokenness is there, and the loudness of that brokenness we can't handle. So we busy ourselves with events. We're always in people's faces. We refuse to sit with ourselves and deal with ourselves. And I think that therapy is a tool that helps us sit with ourselves, even if it's just for that 30 minutes or an hour that you're with your therapist. You get to sit with yourself, your thoughts, and to rummage through all of the damage to figure out, what is it that is here? What lesson was I supposed to learn? What things am I supposed to let go of? What did this do to me that has changed how I operate in the world? How do I get back to my true self? And I think that in order for us to show up as our best selves, we have to get back to our true selves, which again means going through all the things in life that broke us, addressing that trauma, and sitting with it face to face with the help of a professional, so that when we are triggered in the future by similar circumstances or by that particular individual, then we will respond differently, because we've been equipped with tools that have been provided to us by a professional. I think that therapy is one of the best investments in ourselves that we can make. I suggest it to singles, I suggest it to couples, and I greatly suggest it to couples, because you're coming from two different backgrounds with two different experiences and outlooks on life, and you're trying to come together as one, creating a harmonious life and a harmonious household for your children, future children, etc. And in order to do that, sometimes you have to, sometimes, not that you have to, but sometimes those different perspectives that you come with rub against each other. And if you don't sit and take time to figure out how to maneuver in a way that is beneficial to both parties, that doesn't make one person feel overlooked, unheard, unappreciated, then you will continue to have issues, and those issues will only compile to create something that is really hard to deal with. For some people, this leads them to divorce. For some people, this leads them to infidelity. For some people, this leads them to addictions, alcohol, drugs, whatever have you. And we rob ourselves and our spouses and our families when we refuse to address these things. I believe in being proactive rather than reactive. And so I think therapy is one of the best ways to be proactive. And sometimes you can't be proactive, but not addressing the issue at all is not an option. You have to come face to face with whatever it is. And sometimes you don't know what it is, which again is where a trained professional can help you spot the things that you overlook because you've lived with those things, your thought process, your habits for so long that they're normal to you. And they might not necessarily be normal for your spouse, for your family, for others you interact with in the world. So again, family, I beg you to consider therapy if you have not considered therapy yet. Everybody needs therapy because, as I said, if you've made it to adulthood, you've experienced some type of trauma. Even children and teenagers have experienced trauma that needs to be addressed. So I beg you, please invest in yourself in this way because it will help you tremendously. Even if you don't believe it going in, I can guarantee that anybody who's gone to therapy will say that they have benefited in some shape, way, or form, even if it's just the change of their perspective. That is such a huge win. So my plea again is for us as a Black community, for us as people, to look at therapy differently, to embrace counseling and therapists so that we could show up in the world as the best version of ourselves, equipped with tools so that when we are triggered, that we don't respond in a way that we did in the past, but that we could respond in a healthy way. I love y'all. I'm cheering for each and every person listening to this. I'm rooting for us. In the words of Issa, I'm rooting for everybody Black. I love y'all. Thank you again for tuning in. Until next time, love, peace, hair grease, and oil sheen. All the good things.